You check your phone dozens of times today, maybe over 100. You did not decide to do that. Something else is deciding for you. And that something is almost 100 years old. It has nothing to do with notifications. It was discovered by accident in a coffee house decades before phones existed. And once you hear how, you will feel it happening to you in real time, every single day. A psychologist named Kurt Lewin was sitting in a cafe with his students. One of them was a young woman named Bluma Zeigarnik. Lewin noticed something strange about the waiter. The man never wrote anything down. He could recite entire tables of unpaid orders from memory, down to the smallest detail, table after table, without missing a single one. The second a bill was paid, that memory vanished completely. Ask him 5 minutes later what the same table had ordered, and he had nothing. It was as if the order had never existed at all. Why would a brain hold on that tightly, only to drop everything the instant it was done? Zeigarnik went and tested it. Back at the University of Berlin, she gave people around 20 simple tasks. Puzzles, stringing beads, small assembly work. Some tasks she let people finish. Others an assistant interrupted on purpose, right in the middle, before the person could complete it. Then she cleared everything away and asked one question. What were you just doing? List everything you remember. People who got interrupted remembered nearly twice as much detail. Not because those tasks were harder, not because they were more interesting, only because they were not finished. This is the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain treats an unfinished task like an open file it refuses to close. Finish something, and your mind quietly deletes it. Leave it hanging, and it stays lit up, pulling at your attention until it gets resolved. Think about your own life for a second. A conversation that got cut off mid-sentence. A show you stopped one episode before the end. A text you started and never sent. A game paused on the last level before the boss fight. None of these sit in your memory the way something finished does. You barely think about the meal you already ate, the show you already finished, the errand you already ran. You think constantly about the argument that ended before either of you said what you meant. That difference is not random. It is the exact pattern Zeigarnik found in a lab 100 years ago, running quietly in the background of your entire life. For most of human history, this made you harder to kill. An unfinished task was usually a real, physical thing, a trap you had not checked, a fire you had not built before dark, a wound you had not tended, a threat you had spotted but not confirmed gone. Forgetting something unfinished could cost you a meal, or a limb, or your life. Finishing a task and moving on was safe. Walking away from something incomplete was not. So evolution built a brain that refuses to let incomplete things fade. That itch is not a glitch. It is an alarm system, tuned over hundreds of thousands of years to make sure nothing important got left behind. Now ask yourself what happens when a piece of technology learns to fake that alarm on purpose. Every app on your phone is built around one rule. Never let anything feel finished. Your inbox does not show a number and stop. It climbs. Your messages do not just arrive. 3 gray dots appear, someone is typing, and then nothing comes. Your feed has no bottom. There is no point where it says, that's everything. You're done. Even the small red circles sitting on your app icons is not an accident. Red is the color your brain has learned to treat as urgent, and it sits there, unresolved until you open the app and make it disappear. Each of these is a tiny, deliberate open loop. The same brain that could not let go of an unpaid bill cannot let go of these either. A productivity writer named David Allen noticed something similar, decades before smartphones existed. He called every unfinished task an open loop. His whole method was built on one idea. Write the task down somewhere you trust, and your brain treats it as handled. The mental noise quiets down. Allen was describing in practical terms the exact tension Zeigarnik had measured in a lab. This is why a simple to-do list feels like relief the moment you write it. You have not finished anything yet. You have just told your brain, this is being tracked, you can let go of it for now. Your phone could, in theory, do the same thing for you. Instead, most of it is built to do the opposite. Your phone is a machine engineered to generate open loops faster than you could ever hope to close them. But your phone does not stop there. It adds a second trick, pulled from a completely different set of experiments. In the 1950s, B.F. Skinner studied how animals respond to rewards. He put pigeons in a box with a lever. Sometimes the lever gave food every time. Other times, food came randomly with no pattern at all. The pigeons on the random schedule pressed that lever far more often and far more compulsively than the ones who got food every single time. Why would uncertainty create more behavior than certainty? Because a guaranteed reward gives your brain no reason to keep checking. It already knows what is coming, but an uncertain reward makes the checking itself feel worth doing, separate from whatever you might actually find. Skinner called this a variable reward schedule, and it is the exact engine behind slot machines. Nobody pulls that lever because they know they will win. They pull it because this time they might. That uncertainty alone can keep a hand moving toward a lever for hours, long after the person meant to stop. A pigeon could only press one lever in one box a few hundred times a day. You carry a version of that lever in your pocket, and it goes everywhere with you. Your phone runs the same lever everywhere you go. In bed, in line, on the walk to your car. There is no cage door to close it behind. The uncertain reward is always within reach, and so is the open loop sitting underneath it. Here is the part almost nobody expects. Your phone does not even need to make a sound to affect you. In 2017, researcher Adrian Ward ran an experiment on nearly 800 people at the University of Texas. Each person sat down to complete tasks requiring full concentration. Before starting, they placed their phone in one of three spots: face down on the desk, in a bag or pocket, or in another room entirely. The phone stayed completely silent. No buzzing, no notifications. And still, the pattern held every time, in a straight line. Desk was worse than pocket. Pocket was worse than another room. Nearly 800 people, and the same result kept showing up. Just having the phone nearby was enough to quietly drain people's focus, even when nobody touched it. Ward's explanation was simple. Part of your mind is always working in the background to not think about the phone. And that effort itself burns mental energy you would otherwise spend on the task in front of you. Your conscious attention might be entirely on your work. Some quieter layer of your brain is still standing guard over that unresolved device, the same way it once stood guard over an unresolved threat. The phone does not need to buzz. It only needs to exist within reach. As an open loop, your brain refuses to stop tracking. Think about how often that plays out in a single day. A meeting where your phone sits face up on the table, a dinner where it waits by your plate, a work session where it rests an arm's length away, silent the entire time. In every one of those moments, a small piece of your attention was never really with the people or the work in front of you. It was standing guard over an open loop you were not even aware you were tracking. So the next time you feel the pull to check a screen that made no sound at all, you are not imagining it, and you are not weak. You are feeling a 100-year-old mechanism from a Viennese cafe, fused with a slot machine trick from the 1950s, both pointed directly at you by an industry that studies your attention for a living. None of this happened by accident. Teams test every version of every app, one small change at a time, watching which one keeps people checking the longest. A former Google design ethicist named Tristan Harris has spent years describing exactly this, calling it a kind of race for your attention, run by people who understand your psychology better than you do. An unread badge is a Zeigarnik loop. Whether the next message is worth having is a Skinner reward. An autoplay countdown is a loop your brain never agreed to close. A feed that refreshes with something new every time you pull it down is a lever engineered to feel like it might pay out. None of it is random. All of it is tested, refined, and pointed at you specifically. This does not mean you are broken. It means you were built by millions of years of evolution to notice what is unfinished, dropped into a world that has learned, in about 15 years, to make everything feel unfinished on purpose. Your ancestors needed that itch to survive a world of real, physical danger. You have inherited the exact same wiring, aimed now at a glowing rectangle that was designed on purpose to never let you feel finished. You check your phone again, it made no sound, nothing happened. But now you know exactly why some part of you still had to look, and that knowing is the first loop you finally get to close.